Hey Dreamer, please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's about time that you get to select your L plus hero very soon from the carnival. So this video is here to give you some insight on which hero you should be picking. We have a total of 6 heroes this time with the inclusion of Rudy and Kris plus. And there are 2 videos which I feel that you should check out. The first video is the half year anniversary tier list, so you get a rough idea of where these heroes are all placed in the current game. And the second video was the one I made yesterday about the DPS remix, so you have a better idea and maybe more informed choice of whether Ming or Shane could be a potential pick. Okay, watch those videos after this one, because the first hero that you should prioritize is Cosette. I think this choice will hardly change until maybe much later, but to be honest, Cosette is still one of the best heroes in the entire game, even after 1.5 years or almost 2 years in Korea server. Okay, she has not fallen in her utility. She is the top PvE DPS single target damage dealer in the game. So if you have trouble with clearing certain PvE content and you don't have a Cosette, I really suggest that you pick her up. It doesn't matter if you have a Shane, it doesn't matter if you have the Dylans, there's just some content, okay, that Cosette just does way better. Okay, and in future with season 2 coming up, you really want a very strong damage dealer to be able to clear the bosses, because take note that in scenario cases there is a berserk meter. Sometimes melee damages just won't allow you to do that much damage because you have to control them, you have to dodge because you cannot go too near to the bosses, and so many things like that. So range heroes naturally have a slight advantage in that particular situation. And not only that, your soulstone dungeon right now, which is one of the most important dungeons, you will require range heroes. You cannot be using melee heroes, and if you don't have enough firepower in that particular dungeon, you'll be losing out on a lot of precious soul stones as the time goes by, right? And in guild raid as well, you will need 3 different teams for your clearance, and you will need Cosette in one of the teams because Cosette is still the best damage dealer for the raids. Right now, since we have Destiny accessory, it makes Cosette even stronger than other DPSs, other damage dealers. So I think without a doubt, Cosette is definitely one of the most important picks if you do not have her yet. And in future, when you get hero accessories, Cosette's ring is going to buff her entire utility even more, and her exclusive equipment is not out yet. So it's even more important for you to get her right now and then slowly build her up so that you can reach her maximum potential in time to come. Okay, the second best pick is definitely Rudy plus. He is one of the best tanks, be it in PvE and in PvP. Okay, in PvP right now, he is still very much used. He is very annoying to deal with, and in PvE he provides massive utility in terms of raising your entire team's survivability compared to the Legend Rudy. Okay, which I feel just, even though he's still good, but there's just some cases where you shouldn't be using, or you can't use the Legend Rudy at all, because like maybe against Lee, you probably will need very good gear for that. Okay, but Rudy plus just, you know, has an additional edge in terms of stats, in terms of skill set, is just better than the Legend version. And in future, when Variant Raid T16 comes out, I mean, we don't know at this point when that will come out, but from the looks of it, since they are trying to push all the raid heroes exclusive equipment, you know, they may just push forward the entire schedule of releasing T16 raids much earlier than Korea server. And are you really going to rely on the rare Rudy to do that raid? I mean, it's really better if you get Rudy plus now and slowly build him up towards that. Okay, and not only that, in PvP in future, tank teams are about to have a very strong meta, and even right now, double Rudy comps are constantly being used and seen in PvP against the speed comps. But in future, these tank comps will be even better with the inclusion of Alice, okay, with the inclusion of Jave, and with the inclusion even Kris. Okay, Kris plus once you have Espada coming out, you can see a more tanky death team comp coming up. And in future, as I mentioned, when Ming gets her remake, tank comps will also survive very well in the meta. So for Rudy plus, I do foresee a very long-term usage in PvP, and in PvE, without a doubt, he will be one of the best tanks, okay, that you will be using in many boss fights to come. And before we talk about the worst hero to pick, let's talk about the second worst one. And I think this is Velder, okay? In terms of utility, Velder has fallen almost to nothing because of Ace, because Ace just dominates the entire pooling situation in PvP, making Velder really useless in PvP right now. I think no one runs him anymore. If you have an Ace, I don't think you will go back to Velder at all. Okay, unless you're using him in a supplementary team for Guild Wars, that's also possible. Okay, but beyond Guild Wars, I don't think he's used much in PvP anymore. In PvE, he is used in the Gold Dungeon. I do see some Korean players using him in Gold Dungeon even till now. But, I mean, really, to pick a L+ hero for Gold Dungeon, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to resort to that. And I think in Catastrophe Raid, he could potentially help as well, but these are just very forced reasons for you to get him, you know? There's really no foreseeable future utility at this point in time because they have not revamped him and they are not trying to push any universal meta at all in the Korea server for now. So until there's news about his remake, unfortunately, I cannot recommend for you to pull him, and I cannot put him at a higher priority because he is just not so good. The only reason that you will want to pull him is if you do not have him and you have every other single L+ already and you are getting him for the Codex buff. That's completely reasonable because he's not free and that makes him second worst pick. Now of course the worst pick is Shane. I mean, don't get me wrong, Shane is amazing, and if Shane is not free, she's easily the third choice, okay? I will put in amongst the 6 heroes. But unfortunately, she is free at the 2 million mark, and I think at 2 million CP, many players can easily reach that at this point in the game, even for a newer player, because of all the hero progression that the game has included right now, including your divinity, you can go up to level 15, including your formations. There's a lot more formations to build, including hero potentials. All these accumulatively, you know, enchantments, so many enchantments right now, you can push CP very quickly at this point when you join the game. So if you are a very new player, don't worry about not being able to have Shane. Okay, I think you'll get her pretty quickly. So just to talk about Shane a bit more, she is an extremely strong hero, and if you saw the remake video that I talked about, she will last for a very long time in the game, in PvP and also in PvE, because she's a staple for the Dunfrost raid, so definitely she will have permanent usage. So don't worry about her not being used at all. Okay, she's also a very good PvE damage dealer after Coset, especially after her remake. And basically Shane is really one of Netmarble's favorite heroes, so I don't think they'll be treating her that badly in the long run anyway. So don't worry about that, and yeah, I mean, she's given for free, so that's why she is the worst pick. So that leaves us with Kris and Ming. I think these two are the more debated ones. Many people are very confused as to which one you should be picking. So let's talk about Kris first, okay? Kris is a very long-lasting PvP hero and he forms his own meta teams around himself because of his depth capabilities. And in future, you will have Woyong and Espada to support him. If you don't run Woyong, it's fine. I mean, Espada is going to be great for Kris. There'll be more pets in future as well to buff debuff teams, to help with debuff teams, so you can definitely see a future with Kris. And some people may be worried about Kris not being able to perform in the lower tier. However, one of my guildmates, Blade, did sold me on this reason, saying that, you know, in lower tiers it's even better for Kris because the enemies you face are likely not going to have that much death resistance, they're not going to have that good gear, so death will proc even easier in the lower tiers. So if you are a newer player, picking Kris for PvP purposes is actually very good, okay? But as you climb higher, Kris will really require some strategic gear sets and strategic ways to make him good. And of course his skill level does better as you climb higher, right? So this is one of the drawbacks for Kris, but even though he requires a more niche, just having him on the field in your team will produce some differences because of the depth. So that's just how amazing he is, and in future he will last almost all the way because as I mentioned, he does form his own kind of meta team. Regardless of whatever meta it is, death is still a status that, you know, all it takes is 2 hits and the enemy is dead. So that's one of the long-term potentials you can see with Kris. But the thing is, he is not used in PvE, okay, for sure, neither is Ming. and he is free at 3 million CP. So at this point in time, if you are a player with about 2.5 million, 2.6 million CP and above, I really don't think you need to go for him, okay, unless you have the rest of the heroes. But I think that at 2.5 to 2.6 million CP, you can very easily boost that up with consistent hard work and maybe just 2 or 3 new heroes that come along your way. I think you will definitely be able to reach 3 million CP in a matter of time. So there's no real rush for you to pick Kris if you are that high CP. Then for Ming, Ming is currently still very viable in the current meta, in your speed comms, in your CC comms. I think she is used with the Ace comm to provide additional stun against the enemy, but she does have some long-term utility for sure. As I mentioned in the remake video as well, she gets a massive boost in terms of her skill set. She will become super annoying in future. So if you are thinking of having a very good hero in the far future, because I really don't know when she will be remade until maybe season 3. Depending on how fast Global releases stories and heroes, Ming will probably not get that amazing buff anytime soon, okay? But yeah, I mean, it does take time for you to build a hero. So if you don't have Ming and you're considering to have a very good hero in the future, then she's definitely great. And one more plus point is that she has attack codex buff, so that will definitely help in all your content because you're going to have a slightly greater damage output, just by having Ming, right? So overall, this is my ranking for the 3 heroes. Okay, of course the third place is very debatable. So it really depends on at which stage of gameplay you are at. If you have been playing for a long time and are very near the 3 million mark, then of course don't go for Kris, right? If you are still very new and you already have Cosette and you already have Rudy, maybe Kris could help you more than Ming in PvP. Ming is really a very close third place, okay, to be honest. So ultimately it's still very dependent on your particular account. This is just a very general guideline that I can give. So if you're still stuck in a dilemma, leave your thoughts in the comments and maybe we can go through each one individually depending on what situation you're in. But without a doubt, Cosette and Rudy are the main 2 picks that I would suggest for every player who do not have them. So that's all I have for this video. I hope it helped, and if it did, do give a like and subscribe to my channel. Big shout out to my channel members Tom, Jeremy, Chilling, Nick, Fahas, Gonzalo, Yamaki, Kevin and Harlan for the support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much and see you!